This video contains major spoilers for Metaphor ReFantazio. Is this video going to be an excuse for me to gush about this guy? Yes. Is there going to be an in-depth analysis about his ideals, or maybe even a comparison to some of the best villains ever written? I don't know, I haven't written it yet. Do I care? No, it doesn't really matter. Because Louise is a fantastic villain, and one of the best parts about Metaphor. I'm Ouroboros. Let's talk. Okay, so obviously I've made a video about another Atlas villain who I absolutely adore. I won't spoil the other one, but if you've played Persona 5 Royal, you know how polar opposites these two are. There are so many things about Louise I want to talk about. I guess the first is his consistency throughout the entire game. So many times in RPGs, the goalposts get moved over and over again. We've all seen the memes like, first quest, find your best friend. 100th quest, kill God. And yeah, he does go a little one-winged angel at the end, but it's still Louise. It's still the person whom you met at the Grand Cathedral at the start of the game. He's not only set up as the main villain in the opening, but he retains that sense of danger throughout the entire game. He feels like a character that you get to know intimately. And to me, that makes him so much more threatening. He's not someone whom you meet at the very end and he starts lore dumping on you. He progressively unveils his plans to you. He progressively reveals different parts about himself to you. Because of these two things, he feels less like a force of evil, an obstacle for you to overcome, and more of a rival, a foil to your ideals, a test of your resolve, both in terms of Will's ideals, but also of your mastery of the game's combat. At first, I wasn't even super sure of why we were supposed to hate Louise. I mean, everybody says that he's the caster. He just had to have put the curse on the prince because nobody else could have possibly done it. But we don't really see it. It's just told to us over and over again. He's also way less racist than basically every other character in the game. He recruits only the strongest allies. He doesn't care for race, and that's something that your little group is fighting for. That is until Stroll confronts him during the soiree in Brialhaven. This is really the end of that false facade that he's had. We learn that he's the one who let the humans ravage Stroll's home for the sole reason of making an example. Here's the thing, though. It wasn't without purpose. It was to show the people in Grand Trad that humans are an existential threat. This was the only way for them to understand the imminent danger that they pose. So, while Louise is ruthless in the pursuit of his goals, he's not entirely wrong. It's kind of an ends justify the means situation. At this point, you can disagree with his methods, but you can't really disagree with his goals. That extends to his hatred of the church. Sanctism is clearly the power-hungry religion that we've come to expect from these big JRPGs, so we also share a natural distrust of Forden. All of this is to say that, while Louise is clearly someone we should be wary of, at this point, we're really at an ideological disagreement. This slow development comes to a head at the Opera House. I particularly like how Atlas kind of subverted our expectations of having him be not the big baddie. His death in the Opera House is probably the most insane sequence in the game. I was initially really sad to see him go. I knew the game was leading up to killing Louise, but it felt like he was a much more intriguing villain, but more importantly, a much more interesting character than Forden. That's why I was ecstatic when he came back and ended up killing Forden instead. Granted, that comes at the expense of Forden feeling underdeveloped, but I strongly prefer Louise being the focus over Forden. It's clear, in this moment, that Louise is the one that we're going to fight at the end of the game. No question about it. There's not really anyone else left. We also get a bit of a double subversion with the reveal that Rella is the true culprit behind the prince's curse. Even though Louise is a villain, he never really had a personal vendetta against the prince. It's a small saving grace that wasn't expected, and I feel it doesn't really make a big difference in the context of the overarching narrative, but I enjoyed not seeing every bad thing happen because of Louise. After this, it's a pretty slippery slope where we see him devolve into the villain that he set out to be. However, much like his previous actions, none of what he does is without reason. His dream of a social Darwinist utopia is a direct result of his upbringing. He was forced to be as visceral and cunning as he could be because he was, I don't want to say forced, but was driven to leave his home. And it's that devilish ruthlessness that got him so far. His ideals of meritocracy were confirmed by the very system he sought to destroy. And so, he continued along his path. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's where all of this comes from. When the group confronts Louise, Stroll accuses him of doing all of this for revenge, and Louise shakes it off like it's beneath him. A lesser villain would conform to that stereotype, but not Louise. Throughout the game, Louise doesn't really change. He's not a character who develops and either grows or regresses throughout the story. He's someone who we gradually get to know better. We slowly peel back the masks of his psyche until we literally break away the final mask in the Destroyer Caradrius fight. He's not a well-developed character, he's a fleshed out one. I hope that makes sense. Regardless, none of these things would be possible if Louise weren't around for the whole story. We see him so often that I was always just a little on edge whenever the story progressed. He's simultaneously so unpredictable and composed. He's so in control of every situation, but I don't know what he's planning. He feels like he's always a step ahead of you and so poised about it. That's what makes him feel so threatening. Sometimes you get a really unhinged villain. They strike fear into you because they have no consistency in their actions or motives. Louise feels threatening because he has such a clear goal and clear objectives. He has a precise plan, and more importantly, most of the people of Uchronia support him. He has such a massive following. He's not like a Ganondorf who, let's be honest, is just evil for the sake of being evil. Yes, even Wind Waker, Ganon, no, 3 lines of dialogue doesn't make him an interesting character. Stop coping. Louise is so menacing in every scene that you can't help but love him. Metaphor has a lot of really great characters and a fantastic story. I mean, it won Narrative of the Year at the Game Awards for a reason. Those character and story are inherently intertwined. You can't have one without the other. And while there are amazing moments without Louise, and while there are other awesome characters, I find that he dominates every scene that he's in and overshadows nearly every other character. Louise is not only a fantastic character, but a fantastic villain. He's one of the best parts about Metaphor ReFantazio, and I look forward to every moment that he's on screen. Thanks for watching.